There we go. All right. Slightly new system for recording, folks. Bear with me. I'll explain it all during the secretary report.
Okay, so we'll get started here with the roll call. Bill's got his gadget turned on.
Okay. Mr. Early.
Present.
Lou Jones.
Yes, sir.
Pat Delameter is excused. Steve Hood is excused. Bonnie Lumen is excused. Jack Farquhar.
Here.
Howard Heim.
Here.
Don Coy.
Here.
Cindy Dunham. Gotcha. Joyce Malidi.
Here.
John Malidi present. Al Dunham present. Gary Wicks is excused. Tom Pasquarelli.
Here.
Mikey Swartz.
Here.
Trish Green.
Here.
Jared Gilson.
Here.
Sidney Chase.
Here.
Brian Knapp.
Here.
Jane Putman.
Here.
Dana Wygand is excused. Rich Kirschman.
Here.
Bill Averill and Ed Brandt are excused. They're working flag car. Mark Z.
Present.
Dr. Leinhardt.
He was here.
He was here. Did he?
He walked out with Fisher.
Oh, okay. He left.
They have a meeting up in the bathroom.
I will show him. I will show him present.
It's better than a meeting in the bathroom.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum, sir.
Okay, thank you. Well, welcome everyone. Everyone got a copy of our minutes from our last meeting. Motion for approval. Motion been moved. Second.
Oh, I'm sorry, who made? Second. Seconded by Don. Who made the motion?
Howard.
Howard, okay.
Okay, we're gonna change the order of things just a little bit. Oh, yes, that's right. I guess I forgot that.
We have a whole
I
bunch
didn't
of
forget
guests, a whole bunch of guests today. No, they're not very forgettable at all. We have Beth McGowan from CMT. Welcome. Rich Beebe from all over the place. Rich, good to have you. Phil Beavers from Rural Metro. That's that little agency to the south of the state. Yeah. Howard Youth and Deb Cuffs. Welcome. Brian Harrington from Mid-County. Dr. Markowitz is here, and Tony Agresta from the Amsterdam Fire Department. I believe he's here someplace. There he is. Okay. Did I leave anybody out inadvertently? Oh, did I mention Bonnie? No, I guess I didn't. Bonnie Burton is here. And Mary Ramo from the dark side. Sorry, Mary. Yeah, he's a member. Okay, welcome one and all. Good to have you all.
Like I said, we're going to deviate just a little bit from our usual order of things. We're going to have, because of for time constraints, we'll vote on call for a vote on the Mid-County application. I'm sure everyone got a copy of it.
Okay.
Anyone that didn't get a copy of it?
I'm going to read a couple of little things at the record before we vote. If I may. Yep. Ready. On October 28th, the CON application in Mid-County was returned to them from completion. I won't bore you with all the further details, but in any event, on June 29th, pardon me, I'll find it here. Well, the public hearing took place on the 29th of June. Right here, it was duly transcribed and recorded. And on September 5th, the transcript of the public hearing was sent electronically to all AAREMS members, both voting and non-voting members, alternates, and etc., with copies to Mr. Harrington and Dana Jonas of the Department of Health. On September 10th, Mr. Jonas advised us that the Department of Health had completed a fitness and competency review for the Mid-County application and found it all in order and had their approval. We have the Department of Health's approval for the final vote. It was stipulated to occur on this date because of the summer vacation period. And I would like to start by reading to you, for the record, the state definition of public need, since this is a vote as to whether or not the application of the Mid-County ambulance demonstrated public need in the opinion of those voting. Public need, and I quote now, may be defined as the demonstrated absence, reduced availability, or inadequate level of care in ambulance or emergency medical service available to a geographical area which is not readily correctable through the reallocation or improvement of existing resources. Close quote. Having read that definition, and having reminded all of our members that if any feel they have a conflict of interest, they should, according to our bylaws, abstain from the vote. I will read and move this resolution. Resolved that public need has been shown to exist for the Mid-County Volunteer Ambulance Service to expand their primary operating territory to include the geographical area consisting of the town of Charleston and the town of Root in Montgomery County. This is the resolution that we will be voting on now. A yes vote means that, in the opinion of the voter, public need has been shown to exist. A no vote means that, in the opinion of the voter, public need has not been shown to exist. As a result of their application, which all members have received in a timely way, as a result of the information put forth at the public hearing. I will now ask for a second for that resolution.
We have a second.
Howard second. Resolution being made and seconded. I will not call the roll.
Can we have a discussion about this? I
We-
gotta tell you, if these things come by appeal and there's no discussion in the
Certainly, we
in the
can.
transcript, it's very
Right.
difficult.
The state regulations require that no new information be brought before the voting group at the time of the vote, but there can be a discussion on information already presented.
Right, that's it.
Certainly, if there is any discussion on the motion, will we take the vote?
Anyone have any discussion?
Can we at least describe the terms of the request for
The request,
territory or something?
pardon me, the request for, pardon me, frog in the throat. The request was made in writing and following the COS procedure by Mid-County Volunteer Ambulance in Montgomery County, that their primary operating territory certificate from the state be expanded to include the geographical area consisting of the town of Charleston and the town of Root in Montgomery County. This was the issue. They felt there was need for them to expand their territory to include those two towns, and thus they made their application. The application has gone through the process, which has been rather lengthy and very thorough. And that is the question before us at the present time.
Do we have a recommendation from the Transportation Standards Committee, or?
No, what we do is, what we have done consistently is present the full application and the full transcript of the public hearing to each member of this council for their digestion, if you will, and for their discernment.
Do you think we could get an opinion from whoever went to the hearing as to what the vote might be? Or what they think about the issue of need? Can somebody speak to that?
There was very few people at the hearing. It was July 4th weekend. It was a few representatives from us, Bill Beavers from Rural Metro, and a few people from Mid-County other than Phil and Jules.
But everybody got a transcript that they could read.
Correct.
So theoretically, the membership should be informed enough to be able to have some kind of discussion. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to do my advisory role here. I'm not trying to give you a hard time. Because it's very important that there be something on the transcript that can be referred to if necessary, because that's all that the members of the Assistance Committee and the members of the State Council can refer to.
I can tell you this for the record. GAVAC opposed that expansion for several reasons, mainly because there are already two licensed providers that cover that particular area. And we're talking a very small call line, about 150 calls.
I went to the hearing, and I felt that that as far as the proof of need, I didn't see a lot of statistics proving need for
Okay.
that, for the service. I know there was a want, there was several people that spoke from the areas that, you know, wanted the service to expand there. And personally, I did not see that there was any kind of major proof that there was need in addition to the two ambulance services that already serve that area.
Okay.
I went to the hearing as well, and I'd have to agree with Joyce. I didn't see any statistical.
I'm sorry?
I went to the hearing as well, and I'd have to agree with Joyce. I didn't see any proof.
Okay. Yeah. Is there anybody else who can speak for or against the motion? Jack?
Yeah, is there anybody here that could tell us verbally that information that they know? I mean, it's nice to read an application where they praising everything and all. But in reality, is there anybody here that knows the area and does it need that coverage?
I mean, I'm involved in this. While I have no financial gain in this, as strictly an employee of the agency, I mean, there's two licensed providers. We're talking a small call volume based off of the request and the letters and the data that was submitted with the application. We have improved response time, increased the standard and level of care to that particular area. I mean, we've covered all of the calls, have not turned any over. You know, all of it is in there. I don't know how much.
So what you're saying is that if this application were denied, that the calls would still get taken care of?
It would be taken care of.
Okay.
I believe, Jack, that to answer yours, that if you read the transcript, and I presume you did read the transcript, this was all discussed during that time. Amsterdam Ambulance Gabac made the statements that, you know, they did and countered what countered what Mid-County said as far as the need. If you have read the transcript, and I think there was enough there that you can make a decision one way or another whether they actually proved whether there was need for that there is need for that service.
Is there anyone here from the?
We can't, we're not allowed to have such a
And
discussion.
my concern is
We can
that.
have discussion among the members only.
Right, yeah, and you can't add anything
Right.
new, but.
Right.
Right.
I'm sorry, I think I interrupted you, Chris.
No, I was going to say my concern is that without we add no new information.
Yeah, that's a requirement of state regulation.
Any other discussion?
Just have one question. Administratively, this is an expansion of territory, so this is a full CON process that they went through?
That's correct.
That's correct. And I know that Mid-County is aware that, you know, if the vote doesn't go the way they would like to see it go, that they can still do the appeal process, which everyone else has done. If there's no other discussion, call for the vote by roll.
I will call the roll then. I'll do that one. With Fulton County, Bonnie Lumen is absent. John Farquhar.
No.
John Farquhar votes no. Howard Heim.
No.
Howard Heim votes no. Don Coy.
No.
Don Coy votes no. Hamilton County, Cindy Dunham is excused and absent. Joyce Malidi.
No.
Joyce Malidi votes no. Philip Malidi. I vote no. Al Dunham, present as a voting alternate in the absence of Mrs. Dunham. Alan Dunham votes no. Gary Wicks is absent. Montgomery County, Thomas Pasquarelli.
I'll abstain.
Thomas Pasquarelli abstains. Michael Swartz.
Abstain.
Michael Swartz abstains. Patricia Green.
No.
Patricia Green votes no. Jared Gilson.
No, abstain.
Jared Gilson abstains. Otsego County, Sidney Chase.
No.
Sidney Chase votes no. Brian Knapp.
No.
Brian Knapp votes no. Jane Putman.
No.
Jane Putman votes no. Dana Wygant is absent. Harry County, Mr. Averill is absent, and so is Mr. Grant. Remac Chair, Dr. Leinhardt.
Abstain.
Dr. Leinhardt abstains. Going now to Delaware County,
Yeah.
calling them last, I'm sorry.
Doesn't Rick take it all out?
I'm sorry, I'm very sorry. Yes, he does. Richard Kirschman.
No.
I beg your pardon. It's an oversight on my part. He votes, Richard Kirschman, voting alternate, votes no. Now Delaware County, Jack Early.
No.
Jack Early votes no. Louis Jones.
No.
Louis Jones votes no. Mr. Delameter is, and Mr. Hood are absent and excused. Final tally shows 13 votes no, no votes yes, 4 votes abstain, or 4 non-votes I should say, abstain, and therefore the motion is not adopted. Public need, it has been determined that public need has not been shown to exist in this case. And that concludes the CON, the Mid-County CON process.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all. Now we can go back to the regular agenda.
Okay, correspondence. Everyone got a copy of correspondence?
There's quite a bit of correspondence, it being a 3-month swing. And I have to call your attention on 9/18/12. I received an email from a firefighter in Brazil asking about paramedic certification in the United States. That's very flattering, really. That our little upstate region in New York got an email from a firefighter in Brazil. I referred him, as I must always do so, of course, Mary will agree, I referred him to the Department of Health.
Lengthy response time.
No question about it. No question about it.
Same climate.
Same type of climate, that's right. With climate change and all, yes, very true.
From Brazil?
Huh?
From Brazil?
Well, we're getting warmer up here, you know. We don't have the beaches they have down there, but it's chill. Chairman's report, sir.
Okay, I really don't have a report, just welcome everybody back. I'd like to move right on to the secretary's report.
Certainly. On July 2nd, this has been, by the way, a most interesting interim period since our last meeting, because a great deal of it was spent in intense effort to stay afloat. The state of New York, as you'll see when I come to the financial report, the state of New York was a little loath in paying their just and owing bills and debt. So we spent a great deal of time trying to get paid what we were owed by the state. Happily, they came through. On July 2nd, Steve Sonder at the Department of Health stated there was no forward movement on getting PCRs printed by the state. On August 20th, he called to advise a limited supply was becoming available. On August 23rd, we received 3 cases of blank PCRs with the promise that more would follow, and we requested more in a voicemail to him yesterday because the case size is smaller now. So now instead of 1,250 a case, it's 1,000 a case. I have no idea why. On July 7th, the PCRs are the same size. You know, that's it. On July 17th, we received word, that's a joke, we received word of an AED used by the Walton Police Department. Patient was a 39-year-old female who unfortunately could not be resuscitated. On July 19th, we also received word of an AED used by the Walton Police Department again. This was a 46-year-old male who unfortunately also did not survive. The 2013-14 budget template and training plan was forwarded to Lisa DeLong at the Department of Health on July 19th as per their request. They're accepting only electronic forwardings now, and that's fine. Saves a lot of doing. On August 13th, we received an introductory email from Richard Blackley, the new program director at the Susquehanna Regional Office, that's SREMS. He replaces Dick Hope, who was acting in a temporary capacity since the former director left some months ago. On August 16th, we were visited by Tom Mahana and Dan Clayton of the Department of Health for an audit of the regional program paperwork and policy. they do this with all the regions about every 5 years or so. They found overall operations to be in order, said they would have some suggestions to improve filing and other procedures. They also noted that blank PCRs might be available sooner than anticipated, and they were quite correct. 4 days later, we got the word that they were ready to boogie. I have the letter here from regarding the on-site audit. It'll only take a minute to read it. This is dated September the 10th. Dear Mr. Malidi, staff from the New York State Department of Health Bureau of Emergency Medical Services conducted a site visit and review at the Adirondack Appalachian Regional EMS AAREMS Program Agency on August the 16th, 2012. The purpose was to perform a partial review of those activities required in the contract for the period of July 1, 2009 to June the 30th, 2012. During the audit, staff reviewed both administrative and program components. Files related to administration, fiscal management, personnel, and policies and procedures were reviewed for accuracy and completeness. Overall, files are available and contain the required documentation. One serious deficiency was identified by your independent auditor as described below. Moreover, recommendations to review and update policies and procedures and improve records and record keeping in general are also provided. Certified Public Accountants of Groover, Zweifel and Scott, LLP, performed a financial audit of AAREMS for the year ending March 31st, 2011. They discovered a significant internal control deficiency. The accountants noted that the council was not receiving copies of canceled checks with the bank statements. As stated in their report, reviewing canceled checks is a key step in the reconciliation process and an important element of internal control. The accountants recommended that the council request copies of the canceled checks along with the bank statements and that the documents are reviewed by the council as part of its monthly accounting review. This has since been done. Below are the recommendations based upon the findings of the audit. They talk about list total hours worked on our time records. Timesheets must be signed by the supervisor. And employees should not use a shared time sheet. Expense vouchers need supporting documentation. This is where we all come in. They're talking about the travel vouchers from the members of the region. So when you submit, not necessarily this month, beginning next month, when you submit your travel voucher, please note that it was travel from whatever location you started to Johnstown and return for the AAREMS meeting. Please note that because that will keep them very happy. AAREMS financial report review have one sign-off form with signature lines. That's the review that the committee looks at. We're going to start that next month. And then they have a few things about the personnel policies, procedures, and files. Among other things, they wanted a copy of Joyce's diploma and mine in the file. They didn't want to see it.
Mine was there.
They took for granted
We can't find his.
Despite what some people have said, they did have diplomas back when I was in college. And, they had paper there, yes,
Ms. Raymond wants to know if they actually issued diplomas
They
back
had,
then.
yeah, they had.
Too big a
On
tablet.
papyrus.
It was
Too big tablets.
It was past papyrus, right. Anyway, that's the, and I will send everybody electronically a copy of this letter plus our response to it. We have 60 days to make the response.
Did you ask them if the state is gonna be more efficient
You
in their
said
maintenance for this?
we're getting copies of the check from the bank?
We are now, yes.
How much is that gonna cost you?
$2 a month for each account.
Oh, that's all?
That's all. Yeah.
A lot of banks don't send you checks anymore.
Yeah.
No.
They charge you
They prefer not to send copies of the canceled check. They make a photocopy.
Right.
Yeah. So it's going to cost us $6 a month to comply with
Yeah.
the auditor's request. In any event, that was our order. On August 21st, we were sadly advised by Chris Georgia, who was captain of the Broad Alban ambulance, of the untimely passing of Christy Proctor, who was a paramedic serving with Broad Alban. On August 28th, the flyer and registration form for the Regional Trauma Teaching Day on November 3rd was mailed to all council members and others who usually receive the minutes. As of September 19th, yesterday, we have received 14 registrations so far. Folks want to submit their registrations, we ask them please to get them in or let us know that they're coming so we can make proper arrangements. On August 31st, we received written notice from the Town of Broome Fire Department of an AED use. The patient was a 64-year-old male who unfortunately was not able to be resuscitated. On September 10th, we received notice from the Fulton County EMS Advisory Council of the reappointment of the current members of the council from that county. And we have a notice of enforcement action regarding a gentleman in Poughkeepsie, New York, who was suspended for 1 year effective the 9th of August this year. And that information will be in your minutes as requested and required by the state. And that, sir, is the Secretary's report.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to treasurer's
Treasurer's
report.
report. Well, bear with me while I read you this paragraph, and this will detail what's been going on over the summer in a great measure. Not only in this region, but in a number of other regions. Approximately 2/3 of the regions across the state did not receive timely payment. On March 31st, we forwarded to Lisa DeLong the quarterly council deliverables with a voucher of $89.15.20 and the program deliverables for $44,012.37. On May 16th, after several emails and phone calls, we forwarded an email to her advising that fund balances were depleted, prompt action was needed. On June the 5th, we were advised the new system was still creating issues. We then contacted Senator Hugh Farley's office. On June the 8th, Mr. Zeke was in contact with Senator Seward's office on the matter. We continued that follow-up. On June 18th, Lisa DeLong requested a letter of financial hardship from each of the regions. That was easily written. She stated she would forward them to the appropriate persons at once to expedite the late payments. This letter was forwarded the same day with copies to Senators Farley and Seward. Senator Seward's office replied at once and assured of continued close contact with DOH and the Office of the State Controller. Senator Farley's office essentially said the same thing in a phone conversation on that date. On June 20th, a flurry of emails was received from a number of the program agencies essentially saying to the state, please, help. It's essentially what it was. They were polite, very polite emails, as was mine. 3 reported they were paid for their March 31st vouchers on June 18th. Others were still waiting for payment. On July 2nd, Tom Bahana of the Department of Health sent an email assuring the council voucher was being paid momentarily. He was still checking on the program voucher. In the most recent newsletter received from his office on July 2nd, the controller, Thomas DiNapoli, noted the Department of Health in the 2011-2012 fiscal year incurred a total of $1.3 million in late fees, an increase of 130% over the prior fiscal year because they didn't pay their bills in time. $1.3 million. Imagine what the programs could do with $1.3 mil. On July 5th, we received a check for $89.43.46 as payment for the council voucher of $89.15.20. The $28.26 overage is presumably the late payment, I'm sure it was. That wasn't explained, they just sent us the extra money. On July 11th, we received word from Tom Bahana that funds had been released. We could expect our program agency payment in about a week. On July 31st, Lisa DeLong advised they were still waiting for funds to be released, but has put a rush on our voucher. Cynicism can easily develop when you deal with this stuff, you know? On August the 9th, we were advised in an email from Lisa DeLong that payment should be received by the middle of the week of August 12th. On July 6th, we forwarded to Lisa a council deliverables for the subsequent contract period, the subsequent quarter, for $2,009.99, and a program voucher for $21,003.41 for that same period. The payment of $21,003.41 was received on July 11th, and we still hadn't received the March 31st payment. On August 22nd, Senator Seward's office advised they had just been told by DOH that the March 31st voucher was approved and sent to the Office of State Controller, and payment would be forthcoming within a week's time. On August 24th, we received from DOH a check for $44,274.58, which was the amount owed, plus a late fee of $262.21. The check for $2,009.99 was received on September 4th. As of September 4th, DOH is now up to date with their payments to us. Some regions still have not been paid. On June the 5th, a voucher for $950 was submitted to DOH. With the instructor update, that payment was received July 27th. Those disbursements have been made. On July 30th, Lisa DeLong asked for additional budgetary paperwork since the EMS Bureau was developing multi-year, 3-year contracts for all the program agencies. And we sent that to her on the same date. She sent this out to all the program agencies. The new program agency contract for the period from July 1 this year to June 30th of 2013 in the amount of $153,842 was completed by us as requested and submitted to Lisa on June 11th. There were delays in completing the required paperwork in the contract due to some DOH revisions in all the new program agency contracts. So we now have a 3-year contract at the same amount, $153,842 per year, and cash flow, big question mark. Anyway, a printed report of the cash flow balance sheet is present here for all the members. Mr. Jones, Mr. Heim, and Mr. Chase first received a detailed cash flow balance sheet, register reports, and copies of the canceled checks. And their report.
I found everything to be complete. Like Mike said, canceled checks are in here.
$2 a month. What the heck? Take that out of the late
Just a
payment
question,
fee.
have we heard anything from Oneonta yet as far as the
No,
payment? Is there any action that we're gonna take on that?
not without expending a great deal of money that we can't expend.
Is there any collection service that will do that for like a charge or a fee
Well, I'm sure
or,
that.
not a fee, but like a percentage?
It would be an attorney matter, and we simply can't afford to deal with it. We simply can't afford to deal with it. We are not really out of pocket for that amount, but nevertheless, that.
Well, it was expended, yes.
That money was expended.
In a way, yes, we are out of pocket for that amount.
The attorney that.
We spent that amount.
Well, no, actually we didn't. The attorney who received, who billed us $1,400, two attorneys were involved. The one who billed us $1,400 for the background work that we had requested in connection with the Oneonta CON, wrote it off as a pro bono. And the other attorney did the same thing. That was the fee for the public hearing. So the money is truly due and owing to us, but we are not technically out of pocket for it. The two attorneys involved wrote it off. It's rather incredible to me that the city of Oneonta also wrote it off, but that's in a different way. But that's either here or there, I guess.
Okay,
There we have it. There's a motion.
we need a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Yeah.
Seconded by.
Oh,
Okay, thank you. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed or abstained?
Abstain?
That's staff member.
Okay, committee reports. Program agency?
Program aides have a very short report with invaluable assistance from our computer expert, whom we retain on a part-time basis, very much on a fee-for-service basis. The regional council has, I believe, got a solution to our webcasting problem. We have established a YouTube account at no cost due to our nonprofit status, and all meeting webcasts will be available on YouTube. The May 17th meeting is currently available there. The link is now provided on the regional website to YouTube. And you may say yes.
Yes, and I Googled YouTube AAREMS,
It's right
YouTube
there.
AAREMS, and it
There's
came
also
right
a
up
counter.
to
It'll
it.
show you how many people, as of yesterday, 10 people have visited that site. That was Joyce and I, 5 times each. No, I don't think it's controversial in the least. And as one of our colleagues with a typical EMS sense of humor remarked recently, there are many training videos available on YouTube. This is only one of them. And if you've ever visited YouTube, you know exactly what I mean. Anyway, we're on YouTube, and by the way, all kidding aside, there are wonderful medical videos, medical training videos available on YouTube. And we used to be able to download them, to convert them to a WMV format or some computer-compatible format. We can no longer do so because the Google people who own YouTube have requested that the software, the so-called Zamzar software, if you're familiar with it at all, that's the conversion software, not be used to download their videos because they'd rather not. And I suppose when Google says we'd rather not you do that, if you're in business, you say, certainly, sir, and let it go at that. In any event, there is a way of converting them legally for use in training purposes and so forth, but I have not yet found it. But we have a computer expert who works with us on this.
So now if you have a smartphone, you can watch last month's while you're here this month.
I suppose that's true.
See?
I
Got
have
it
not
right
yet
here.
acquired-
Yeah, we got it right here too.
Are we looking at it right now? Did it ever occur to you that technology is just getting a little bit ahead of us? It's a little scary. That's my report, sir.
Okay, thank you. Training?
Training.
Training, well, the training person is now responsible for PCR screening. My mom has decided that not only is she retired, but she's not doing PCRs anymore. I don't blame her, because I've done it for 2 months, and I'm finished with them. But anyway, yeah, thank you for electronic. So there's a lot of my time in the month that's being taken over with PCRs.
It will be considerably less when we have the proliferation, of EPCRs.
I thought you were talking about me, wobbly. Anyway, oh, that's your thing. It wasn't wobbly on mine. Anyway, we're talking about two different things here. The Trauma Teaching Day on the 3rd of November, Deb Cuffs has graciously, Stevie Anderson threw her under the bus, by the way, and told me that she does a fantastic presentation on shock, so she has agreed to do our presentation in the morning on hypoperfusion, and Steve Anderson is going to do the rest of the day on the trauma and new trauma protocols and going through systems and so forth as far as trauma care. And so those will be the two teachers, those will be the two lecturers for that day. There is a instructor program. I'm going to let Rich Beebe actually speak on that. I think it's at Hudson Valley, is it? Yeah. Coming up, the National Association of EMS Instructors, I believe, educators, instructors, is doing that. Now, the reason I want you to get this around, those of you who are representative of course sponsors or work for course sponsors or whatever, this will count as for a CIC program, for a CIC course. The only thing that New York State requires in addition to taking this program is a 3-hour update on New York State policies, specific New York State policies, procedures, that kind of thing, paperwork, plus the internship. So if any of your people, and there's a few that have, I think, just 2 people that I know of over the last couple of years have asked about CIC training. If you have people that are CLIs, they have to be CLIs, and they are interested in CIC training, this is the way to go at this point, because there's not a lot of CIC programs around. And I understand this is a really fantastic and very interesting program. So I'd recommend it to anybody that's interested in CIC training. And Rich, I don't know if there's anything else you want to say about that. If you want the information, give me a call. I'll send you the link.
If you need the link or want the link and you're on Facebook, it's on the SUNY Code Skill Paramedic Program Facebook page.
If you go to the NAEMSE .org, National Association of EMS Educators.
When is it going to be held?
November 30th. It's a 3-day program, November 30th, December 1st, and December 2nd. They're billed each day from 8 to 5. It is at Hudson Valley Community College, but not on the campus. It's at the paramedic program site, which is 400 Jordan Road. That's the RPI Technology Park. And we actually have great parking, so you don't have to worry about trying to park on a college campus. But anyway, the link for registration is through naemse.org, not through the college. So lots of people with information, so call any of us, we'll point you in the right direction.
The only thing I'd add is registration is open and available on the website now.
Unlimited, I would assume.
42
Oh.
I think that's it for training.
Okay. All right, thank you. Transportation standards?
Well, we just had that. I have no further information other than the mid-county CON issues.
Okay. Anything from State Council?
Just that we're going to meet October 3rd and 4th, which is a Wednesday and Thursday at the Hilton Garden Inn in Troy, which is our usual place. As chair of the systems committee, I've been hearing a fair amount of concern and confusion about moving to the national standard, EMS national standards. And I've heard from people from Olean to Suffolk County and a few places in between. People are having trouble apparently instructing their courses and getting things approved. Howard's raising his eyebrows over there. I would like to know, I'm going to bring it up at Systems Committee. I imagine it will come up at Training and Education, which might be a bit mutinous from what I hear. I'm concerned about the impact. I was reading some of the stuff on the website last night, and as I'd heard at our ambulance association 2 days ago, that all paramedics were going to have to be recertified to the national standard by the end of June of 2014. According to the website, it's 2015.
Correct.
Mary's shaking her head, yeah. So that helps a bit.
If I may.
Sure.
The paramedics have a minimal change
Yeah.
in their curriculum. The paramedics
Right.
probably have the least to worry about, and they have the fullest duration of time to implement the changes.
Right. That seemed pretty reasonable to me.
Right. EMTs and CFRs, which are also known as EMRs now, emergency
EMRs,
medical responders, have to have their changes by June 30th of 2014.
Right. That's
So,
what I read. That's what I read. Yeah.
the biggest group that has change coming to it is the intermediates. They're no longer going to be called intermediates, they're going to be the AEMT,
Right.
and their scope of practice is expanded.
Correct.
CFRs, or I'm sorry, critical care techs are basically staying the same,
Except for the EMT portion.
except for 13 and a half hours additional training under the EMT
Right.
curriculum.
There's been some question and confusion and concern actually about basic EMTs having to learn the CFR portion, the changes to EMR.
Mhm.
I'm not sure what that's all about. But I'm collecting these concerns and questions that people have, so if you or any of your course sponsors have them, I'd appreciate hearing about it before I go to State Council on the 3rd.
I think that's the EMR, the CFR to EMR, and then the EMTs have to go through that. I think that's because one builds on the other, builds on the other, and I think they want that
Okay.
as a base. I think that's what they'll tell you.
All right.
I can, sorry.
Go ahead.
There's going to be a webinar, another webinar coming up September
27th, I think.
27th, I believe.
Is it September or October?
No,
September.
September.
It's the end of September. It's being run through Albany Med's website.
Okay, I have it on my calendar back at the office, I guess.
I'm sure if you reached out to either ARPRO or Andy, they would send you the information and the links. There's a dial-in option with a 12-second delay. It suggested your phone be on mute. And there's also the actual webinar material. Andy's material is beneficial. Many people have their questions answered there.
Okay.
I would send out, and if you guys have any means to send it out to people that are questioning it, you know, listen to this. Andy's taken the dog and pony show to many regions in the state, trying to allay a lot of the fears.
Okay.
The biggest fear people have is the expanded hours.
Yes.
And-
Right.
And it's going to cost more to teach the classes because there's going to be some additional hours, but depending on how it is and when you had your original card. Actually, Rich worked quite a bit on this committee, I believe, when it was being set up.
Did you hear that? That was the bus that just went by.
I think you've been hit by that bus.
Well, no, but I mean,
We got people in the room who are long in the tooth and gray in the hair, and they all remember the transition we went through before. And
Right.
it took me, say, 5 years to get under that, and now we're 5 years into this. This is not new stuff. It's been out
I
for almost 5 years.
I am hearing a lot of concern. That's what, you know.
So to cut to the chase, gotta add a few more hours. I just got mine done, and it was accepted. 150 hours, not a problem. You speak to most instructors in the room, they're probably running anywhere from 140 to 170 now anyway. Half of the changes are just making sure you write the right names in the sessions. The additional content is lifespan development. That would be geriatrics. You probably want them to learn that.
We all do.
But
Did you
certainly,
you all hear that bus that just went by?
and some anatomy, which for those of you who are educators, remember that the complaint about the last curriculum was they quote unquote dummied it down. And well, that's been reversed. And we actually think that an EMT can say fractured arm and not a swollen, painful deformity, right? And we gave them some language, medical terms like fracture, right? So it's not really that big a hoot. We've gone through this before.
I was going through some of the templates last night, and it didn't look terrible to me, so I'm not sure where a lot of this is coming from.
We presented this at the instructor update. And I had 2 phone calls on it afterwards. The only concern that was expressed to me was by the course sponsors who are going from like 120 hours to 150 hours or 160 hours, a few of them, how we're going to pay the instructors, because they are barely making it through paying instructors on what they get now for the course. This is basic EMT. That was the only concern, not the curriculum, not that kind of thing, not what has to be taught, but it was the concern was the additional hours. And that's what I heard.
That's been a concern expressed. There are some courses in the Hudson Valley that are now at 180 hours. 2 instructors in Otsego County had courses at different hour lengths. So, and I suppose you can do that. I mean, they've been given the freedom to kind of put this together the way they want.
I guess you're supposed to use some creativity. You can do some hybrid courses in there. For example, every course has got to do an ICS 100, 700. That's all done online. You bring in your certs, it's a done deal. So that's the intention of this. The other concern financially that I've seen raised from a CME perspective is anybody who's recerted in the last 18 months is going to have to take this transition material. Essentially, you have to recert in the next 18 months till that June 30th, 2014.
But it's
correct?
agency-based, they'd like you to have the material at the agency level. We have no means to go around and police the last year of your card, if your card expires.
Right.
But it becomes a standard of care if we said that everyone's gonna be at this level. It becomes a standard of care, and if there's an issue, if your agency didn't help bring you up to that level in the CME program.
The agency's on the hook.
But the agency's on the hook anyway with the CME program. It's a catch-22. It's a non-funded mandate. There is no other name for it.
There it is.
I'll put it out there.
There was another concern expressed to me about paramedics recerting under the CME program, but still having to take, I was told that they were told they would have to take a full refresher course. Now, that doesn't seem correct to me by looking at the stuff last night, so.
No. Roughly, the paramedics have 3 hours as the sheets are tentatively worked out, but the 3 hours have not been defined as of yet, and they're gonna get to that. It's we're learning this just as much.
Only 3 hours, Mayor?
Yeah.
Only 3 hours, you said?
Right.
Correct.
The
The other
critical care is going to be the one, because they have to do the EMT 13 as well. That's going to be a little sticky for the
But
CCs.
as onerous as this may be, and it hasn't come out in an email yet, or a policy, there will be a policy statement coming out shortly. They're gonna allow you to do half of your time as online or other materials, as opposed to in front of an instructor.
Okay.
The CIC still has to accept it, but it's half of your core and half of the fluffernutter material. If you refer to it, it's very distinct.
Well, the other thing that I've heard is that when people are trying to contact the department about this, the department has not been terribly helpful. There's been a lot of, well, go to the website. So, I don't know.
People are calling up with very vague questions, when if they look at the website, look at the forms for the CME program especially, and then come back with the questions, it makes a lot more sense.
That's what I thought, looking at the stuff last night. I thought, well, this is fairly straightforward here.
Correct.
So.
Because one of the first questions is, have you looked at the material on the website? Have you looked at the new forms?
Right.
Yes or no? look at them and then see if you still have questions.
Okay,
Because it's hard to explain it to a person if they're not looking at it either.
well, thank you. This conversation's been very helpful to me because I am going to bring it up at Systems Committee to see what other people are experiencing, and then we'll see what we do with it. But thank you.
I had one question, come several times from some new EMT students. They want to know about getting their national registry card. They believe that they would be testing, they were under the assumption they would test as national registry.
We've adopted the national standards. We have not adopted the national
National
registry.
They're two different things.
There is a question, and a frequently asked question on the website about that. If you go to the line of frequently asked questions,
Well, I'm
it's down
talking
towards
about
the end.
very new EMTs, first
Yeah.
time taking an EMT course, and they hear that we've adopted the national standards, they think, oh, I'm gonna get a national registry card, I can move to North Carolina next year and get a job as an EMT.
No.
And I said, I wouldn't count on that.
The other concern I heard was that some current EMS providers and prospective EMS providers will just say, too many hours, I'm done, I'm not doing this. So I don't know if that'll happen or not.
Where we expect to see that, and that may happen, is at the current intermediate level.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We think that's where the largest shift is gonna be.
yeah.
Just for the record, we have 19 intermediates currently active in this six-county region.
There's only
19.
200 and some in the whole state.
No, there's, I can tell you, because we pulled it up.
7 of those 19 are at CMT.
Oh,
870 in the state.
870.
Really? There's that many?
Mhm.
Yeah, there's 19 in this.
And they have until 15, June 30th of 15 to meet the standards.
Right.
I haven't had any feedback from any of them yet.
Okay.
There's only 93 intermediate agencies in the whole state.
Well, part of the reason I bring it up is because I wasn't sure how many people in our region were actually aware of the requirements, so I'm trying to make it a little bit of an issue out of it. But it sounds like people are mostly aware of it.
Yeah, there were quite a few people at the instructor update, I can't remember now, but they are all well aware of it. And
The other concern that came to my attention yesterday was that some of my colleagues around the state are having trouble getting people cleared in terms of reciprocity. Some people have been waiting over a year to get cleared. So I don't know what the holdup is with that. I don't know if anybody else is having that problem. I got 3 people down in the western part of the state and 1 person in Rochester that,
If you want to email me their names, I can, when I'm over in central office, I'll hand deliver it to the person. and get them.
yeah, I'll do a little digging to get names. I did not get names, but
You know
I can-
agencies.
I know where to get them, so I will do that. The other thing is, it's really a CMT issue. I'm gathering that we are probably the second largest purveyor of blank PCRs in the state of New York.
I gave your name out to everyone, I'll be
Yes, you
honest.
did. We ordered,
We ordered 22,000.
22,000, and we sold
PCRs with-
most of them at cost from far away as Malone and the southern Hudson Valley, and I don't know where else.
For Racket Lake, Malone, Poughkeepsie,
I don't know if there's something wrong.
but I actually sold over 13,000 PCRs since the state had their little gap. And,
Racket Lake is not a high volume user of PCR.
well, it was very interesting because
They ordered 10.
they ordered 500.
They ordered 500.
They got 250, they thought they needed more and got another 250.
They do about 10 runs a year.
And I tried to discourage them, saying version 6 will probably be out before you run out of your version 5 PCRs. I was very honest with these very small agencies that I said, you may only want to get 250 now because at some point version 6 will be coming out. And then you can have a PCR that, yeah, although the state will still accept them, and I'm not sure they're going to accept them 10 years from now. So, yeah, I've sold over 13,000 PCRs.
Well, it sounds like Phil has some on offer, but if anybody else is short.
No, just
Yeah, I will be glad. I don't want to dig into CMT's business here, but I don't want to destroy your business plan. But,
well, it's not. There's no profit in it. It's exactly what we get them for, plus postage. I go and I weigh them and write in how much postage costs, total it up, slip the invoice in, tape them up, and send them out. So it's more of a service.
Racket Lake is a very famous squad. It has the longest ground ambulance transport to the nearest hospital of any agency in the state. 71 miles to the nearest hospital.
Wow.
no matter what direction they go in it, they're Cracker Lake Fire Department is 71 miles from Saranac, Glen Falls, and community.
That's the end of my report, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you very much. Program director meeting.
There is a program directors meeting coming up in October, I believe it's October 2nd. It's going to be in Gilderland, and I don't have any other further details on it yet.
Okay. Any other program updates?
No other program updates, sir?
Okay. REMAC report?
We met today, approved Dr. Hatchman as the new medical director for Garrettsville, approved Mars Agency resuming ALS service with a new ALS provider, approved CMT going to EPCR with the image trends vendor. Informational only was Franklin is now operating at BLS level. There was a question from me from the tour pharmacy, which was directed to Dr. D. Fowler and their local agencies. And protocol feedback is still appreciated to Remo, Dr. Daly. We discussed sort of off the record the use of fentanyl and what that impact has been on the region. It was generally positive. We believe that all the hospitals will be compliant with the narrowband mandate. And then we had an executive session.
Okay, thank you. County reports, Delaware County? I think we have any new.
It's still there.
Yeah. Otsego?
We got one EMT class going and one soon to go, and it's going to be 30+ students between the two of them. Business as usual. The only other thing is Dr. Fowler and the director in the emergency department. He'll be leaving as of December 31st, I believe.
21st.
So we'll miss him a little bit.
Yeah.
You can meet him at the Albany VA.
Pardon?
You can meet him at the Albany VA in the
Okay, is Cahary?
Nobody here?
Nobody here for Cahary. Montgomery?
Pretty much business as usual. Upcoming courses, AMLS, October 11th and 18th, 8 to 5 at GAVAC, it's a full course. And we're having a CME Marathon Day, October 25th. I don't know if the topics are out for that yet, but they will be on our
Mickey hasn't
Facebook
told me yet.
page. So,
Gee, we only got up to YouTube, and you guys are on Facebook already. Holy smokes.
Do you publish electronic flyers with those? Do you have a distribution list?
we can.
I put them on the web, when I get notice from them, I
We
put
give
it
it
on
to
the
Phil, he
website.
usually posts it on his
Okay.
website as well.
But when you send it to Phil, would you just include me and the?
Absolutely.
Okay. Fulton?
Nothing new.
Hamilton?
No. Bears haven't gone to hibernation yet. That's a good sign.
Any old business? Old business, any new business? If not,
Well, I need a letter from the region about CPCR for us.
Yeah.
That's one of the requirements that I have to fulfill, or need to fulfill.
I will gladly send it to you. I'll send it electronically. And how, you like electronically, or like it by snail mail, or both?
Both, please.
Both, please.
Both.
Belts and suspenders, as you said to me.
45 cents, we will throw the 45 cents into the till, absolutely.
Thank you.
Good for the economy. Absolutely.
because of the rubber stamp.
Forever stamp, I use the forever stamp, that's right. Yeah, we depend on state money, I use the forever stamp. Yeah.
Okay, we have no other business. Motion for adjournment?
Before you go, just touch it over. I'd just like to announce they're presently work with Mark Spezio and Travis Howe of Mountain Lakes to put together a CLI course in Mountain Lakes on January 29th, I think it's the 26th, the last weekend. So tentatively, that's been, we've agreed to that. We're putting in paperwork to the state as we speak. But I just thought, in case, hold the date. hold the date.
Rich, if you will just send me an email on it, I'll
As
put it on
soon
the
as we
web-
get the state confirmation, we'll send that out. I just thought we kind
I'll put it on the
of
web.
start putting it out there.
Put it on the website.
26.
There's a chance to get your CIC and a chance to get your CLI.
Good.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I do have a small item in state council, actually. First is that our next meeting, aside from the October meeting, will be January 29th and 30th, I believe. We don't have any dates any further than that. And Tom Pasquarelli has agreed to be my alternate. I am supposed to write the letter, but I suppose we ought to have just that affirmed here by the council.
So we did that last time.
Huh?
So we did that last time.
No, Tom expressed an interest.
No, we talked about it, but I don't think we really
So moved.
formally approved it.
Happy to give it up.
Trying to get rid of a job.
Marcia indicated she didn't want it anymore, and Tom's indicated that he'll be there on the 3rd and 4th, and I will make sure that he learns the ropes a bit. And,
Excellent. There were a few ropes to learn.
yeah, there are. Yeah. So if we can have a motion about that.
Okay, motion made by Joyce Malidi. Do I have a second? Second by Don Floyd.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You say adjourn, sir?
Stand adjourned.
Okay.
Have a nice one.
Let me turn on.
Last one.